Hello, everybody, and welcome into another edition of For Pete's Take. I'm Joey Peterson, and today, just like last Friday, we're going to go through 4 games that I like, 4 games where I'm going to pick the winners, 4 great games from this weekend, and then I'm going to give you my 4 favorite underdogs for Saturday, and maybe even Friday too, a little sneak peek. We're going to start with the Alabama versus LSU game, basically the SEC West semifinals, right? We have Alabama going into Death Valley as a 13.5-point favorite. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I think Bama's going to win, but I don't think they're going to cover. We know it's not the same road team that we've been used to seeing from Alabama, especially in the early 2010s. We know they've struggled on the road against Tennessee, Texas, A&M last year. They're just not the same road team. But I think if you go position by position, especially on the offense, I think they're just better than LSU every one. I think they have a better quarterback, a better running back, a better offensive line, and I don't know about better wide receivers, but they have a quarterback who puts their wide receivers in better positions and better chances to succeed than Jaden Daniels does with LSU. Now, LSU is playing with some juice. I think they finally got it back after what Tennessee did to them at home in early October. They're playing with some juice after that Ole Miss game. Jaden Daniels is playing incredible, looked so good last week against Ole Miss, but 2 weeks ago against Ole Miss. But I still think Bama is the better team, and I think they're going to come out this one on top. I think it's going to be close, within a touchdown, definitely I think within 10 points, but give me the Crimson Tide over LSU, and I think they clinch the West. Next, we got Clemson versus Notre Dame. I think this is going to be a really fun one. 3 weeks ago, I would have picked Clemson, and I probably would have taken them with a 3.5-point spread. But after these last 3 weeks, watching them play ball and watching Notre Dame play ball, I think it's shifted, and I think the Irish can pull this one out. I think Clemson is due for a loss. I don't think they're the same team we're used to seeing from Clemson. I don't think they have the same quarterback caliber. I don't think they have the same offensive firepower that we're used to seeing it. Have a great running back, but I don't think that's enough to win a game like this. I think Notre Dame finally gives them that last knockout punch that Clemson's been waiting so long to take, that people have been waiting so long to watch someone give to Clemson. Clemson struggled against Syracuse. Notre Dame next week absolutely thumped them. Notre Dame has played pretty good in some really big games this year, despite some of their lackluster performances like against Marshall, but they played Ohio State great, and again, they thumped the Syracuse team that gave Clemson some trouble. So, give me Notre Dame this weekend over Clemson, and I think Clemson finally gets a loss that everybody's been waiting for them to get all season long. Next, we got Texas versus Kansas State. Texas heads into Manhattan, Kansas to play Kansas State, a 6-2 team, yet the Longhorns are favored by 2.5 points. Vegas's love for it, everybody's love for Texas is something I've never really gotten. I don't think they've proved anything to us all year long other than almost beating Bama, almost beating them, whatever that's worth. And then, of course, they beat Oklahoma 49-0. But it was an Oklahoma team that was in shambles, didn't have a starting quarterback. And now that loss doesn't look that bad for Oklahoma after we've seen what their team is. I think that Kansas State is playing great ball right now. You saw them last week give out the worst shutout loss to a top 10 team in college football history. They beat Oklahoma State 48-0. Made me look like a fool who 1 week ago said, I'll take Oklahoma State in that game. I'm not doing that again. I think Texas has shown they're a good team. I just don't think they're there yet. Steve Sarkisian against Oklahoma State, they were running the ball all day long in the first half. Then they came out in the second half. They were up. They were winning. They had the game control. They stopped running the ball. They started passing, started trying to get cute. Oklahoma State came back and won that game. Again, I think Texas is close. I don't think they're there yet. Give me Kansas State and get them to 7-2. And last, we got Texas Tech versus TCU, and I think this game is going to be an absolute shootout. I'm talking classic Big 12 football. I'm talking TCU versus Baylor back in 2015, 2016, whatever it was. But I do think TCU is a team to watch out for. They're an 8.5-point favorite, and that line kind of scares me. Now, I think they could easily go over that line, but I'm not as confident enough to bet it. And I don't think you should be as either. I think because they play in the Big 12, the most competitive conference in college football, I think that's why you should be wary of a line that big, especially a team like Texas Tech that has the ability really to beat anybody. But also, you got to take into account that TCU just got absolutely jobbed with the college football playoff rankings. And I think there's a chance this team comes out of the gate furious. Like they got something to prove to the whole country. And I wouldn't be surprised if they absolutely destroyed Texas Tech. But again, because it's the Big 12, because TCU usually plays in pretty close games like we've seen them play the last 4 weeks, I'm going to take TCU to win, but I don't think they're going to cover the spread. I think it'll be close. I think Tech will be able to run the ball, but I think Tech has a good enough pass defense to keep it close. I just don't think they have enough offensive firepower outside of running the football. So there's my 4 games I'm most interested, most excited about, and I think will be the best games of this weekend. Transitioning now, I'm going to give you guys my 4 underdog picks. Now, 4 underdogs I think you should take with the spread, but also 4 underdogs I think you shouldn't be, and I definitely wouldn't be surprised if they just won straight out. So starting with tonight, some Friday night action, Oregon State against Washington. I think Oregon State has played some pretty good teams pretty dang well this season if you look at what they did against USC. And I think when you look at Washington's record and their schedule, I don't think they've beaten anybody with a pulse this year. I don't know why Oregon State's an underdog, but take the Oregon State Beavers in this one. Next, for second week in a row, I'm choosing Baylor as one of my underdogs this week. They play Oklahoma. And I think last week we saw Baylor put together their most put-together game of the season. I think it was easily their best game on each side of the football. I think they're clicking. Now, I do think Oklahoma's a little bit better than they were in the beginning of the season and in the middle of the season more. But I would not be surprised if Baylor goes to Oklahoma, goes to Norman, and wins this game. Next, Maryland over Wisconsin. Maryland, just like Oregon State, has played some good teams really well. Now, they haven't won a ton of games, but I think Wisconsin's just been kind of flat-out mediocre all season long. Give me the Terps over the Badgers. And last, Florida over A&M. I don't know why A&M continues to be favored in every game they play. They're 1-4 in conference, 3-5 overall. And I think Florida does exactly what A&M can't do on defense. Florida runs the football. They do it with the running backs, and my goodness, they do it with their quarterback. I don't think A&M will be able to stop them. I think Florida wins this game outright, so give me the Gators. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy this awesome week of college football. This is For Pete's Take. I'm Joey Peterson. We'll see you guys next Monday.